In today's tutorial, I'll be using this brand. I love this yarn. It is metallic yarn and it's a size 4 yarn, 3% metallic polyester and 97% acrylic. I used 5 of these, so that's 710 grams. Yeah, so that's what I used for my size. So this will depend on the size that you're making, but that's how much yarn I used. I used 5 skeins for this project. For the hook, I'm going to be using a 5mm hook, which is a US H8 hook. You're gonna need some scissors. You will need some elastic band, but it's optional. I used this for the waistband. And then you will need a darning needle to weave in your ends. Now let's get started. This skirt is easy to make. I used the easiest stitches. We're going to use the double crochet stitch and the half double crochet stitch, a chain and a slip stitch. So those are very easy stitches. Anyone can make this. If you're a beginner, this is the perfect project for you. Now back to the tutorial. We're going to start by making a slip knot. You're going to make something like this. Okay, you have a tail here and you have your working yarn over to the other side. So you're going to insert your hook in that loop that you've created and then pull up a loop like so, and then pull this over like so, and then you're going to make a chain that's long enough to go around your waist when stretched. Okay, so you need your waist measurement. If your waist measurement is 40, make sure when you make this chain and stretch it, it should stretch to your waist measurement. All right, I'm back with my chain, and this is 110 chains, and I'll show you. When you stretch this chain, you see that it can get to 39, and that's exactly what I wanted. So once you have your chain completed, you are going to make sure that it is not twisted, and then you're going to make a slip stitch in the first chain that you made. So insert your hook right there and make a slip stitch. Okay, so now we have this circle here, and we're going to work in rounds. Chain 2, which does not count as a stitch, and then you're going to yarn over. And I like to work in the back bumps of my chain. Okay, see the V's here. So I'm going to flip them over like so, and then I'll be working in these back bumps that you guys can see. Okay, so in that same space where the chain 2 is coming out of, you're going to make a half double crochet. Then half double crochet in the next chain, half double crochet in the next chain. To make a half double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook in the next chain, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all of them at once. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through all. And that's what you're going to repeat all the way around for this first round. And I'll meet you guys right here. Okay, so I have made it to the end of my first round, and I'm going to slip stitch on top of the first half double crochet. So ignore the chain 2 that we started with, but on top of the half double crochet, that is where you're going to make a slip stitch to complete the round, and this is what you should have. So in that stitch that we just slip stitched into, as you can see, the yarn is coming out of it. You're going to get a stitch marker and place it there. That is going to be your last stitch. That is going to be the last stitch you work into. Okay, so place there a stitch marker, chain 1, turn your work, yarn over, and on top of this first stitch you're going to make a half double crochet. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, you'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all, yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch and make a half double crochet, and you're going to repeat this all the way around. So I'll meet you back here where we have our stitch marker. I'm at the end of my round and I have 2 stitches left, so I'm going to place there my first half double crochet. Now where we placed the stitch marker, that is where we're going to place our last stitch. So take the stitch marker out, insert your hook in that space and make a half double crochet to complete the round, like so. And then you're going to slip stitch on top of the first half double crochet, like so. And that's the end of our second round. Okay, so again we're going to place our stitch marker right there. See where we slip stitched, we're going to place there our stitch marker, then chain 1, turn our work and start making 1 half double crochet in every stitch until we get back right here where we have placed our stitch marker. And it's that simple. All right, I'm at the end of round 3 and my last stitch goes where we have the stitch marker, so I'm taking it out, then placing there my last half double crochet and then slip stitch right on top of the first half double crochet. Then in that spot place your stitch marker, chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to repeat those 2 rounds. I'm going to show you guys one more time how to slip stitch and start your next round, and then I'll do the rest of the camera. Okay, so keep going, making 1 half double crochet in every stitch. All right, I'm at the end of my round 4 and I'm going to place my last stitch right here where we had the stitch marker, and then slip stitch right on top of the first half double crochet, chain 1 and repeat that pattern. So you're going to repeat this over and over until you get to where your hips start from, because we're going to make an increase when we get to that part. But you need to keep marking that last stitch because that is what is going to help you keep a straight line at the back of your skirt. Okay, so keep going. I'll meet you back here shortly. All right, I'm back, and here I have a total of 20 rows completed, and the next step is where we increase for our hips measurement. Okay, so before we do that, I'm going to show you guys how long my skirt is at this point. and so far it's about 7 inches, and that's from my belly button to where my hips will be starting from. Or you may want a lower skirt fit, so it may start below your belly button, but whatever you prefer, just go with your own measurements. So this is very easy to adjust. This here is the back of my skirt, and as you can see guys, I kept a straight seam, and this is how your skirt should look as well if you followed the instructions. So now we're going to get a stitch marker and mark where the hips, like where you want to make the increase. So you're going to place there a stitch marker, and you do the same on the other side of your skirt. I didn't count the stitches or anything, but I just made sure that it was very well aligned, just like how you'd want it to fit around your body. So now we're going to chain one, turn your work, and you're going to keep making 1/2 double crochet in every stitch until you get to the stitch marker. Then I'll show you guys how to make an increase when we get there. I've made it to the stitch marker and I'm going to remove it. And in that stitch where the stitch marker was, I'm going to make 3 half double crochets. That's 2 and 3 all in the same space. And then you're going to get your stitch marker and place it in the middle stitch. So you have 3 stitches there. So in the second stitch, that's where you place your stitch marker, and from there you continue making 1/2 double crochet in every stitch until you get to the next stitch marker. So go ahead and do that. I'll meet you back when we get to the next stitch marker so I can show you how to make an increase again. We have now reached the second stitch marker, and we're going to do the same thing we did on the other one. So we're taking it out and making 3 half double crochets in that same space. That's 2 and 3. Then get the stitch marker and place it on top of the middle stitch. Okay, so we have one. The second one, put the stitch marker right back on top. Then after that, you're going to continue making 1/2 double crochet in every stitch until you get to the end. Once you make it to the end of the round, remember your last stitch goes right in that stitch where you chained one from, and then slip stitch on top of the first half double crochet that you have, like so. Chain one and turn your work, and make 1/2 double crochet on top of every stitch until you get to the next stitch marker, and I'll meet you right here. When you get where we have the stitch marker, you're going to take the stitch marker out, place there one stitch, only one, and then put the stitch marker back on top of that stitch, like so. Then continue with 1/2 double crochet on top of every stitch. So once you get to this side, you're going to do the same thing that we just did here. So work your way around, and I'll meet you guys at the end. I'm at the end of my round, and I'm going to yarn over and place my last stitch right where I slip stitched into last. Okay, right there. Then slip stitch on top of that first stitch, chain one and turn your work, and we're now going to make 1/2 double crochet in every stitch until we get to this first stitch marker. Once you get to where we have the stitch marker, you're going to take it out, and we are now going to make an increase of 3 half double crochets all in the same space, like so. Then get your stitch marker. Where is it? Get your stitch marker and place it back in that middle stitch. Okay, so as you can see here, we made an increase, then we made a row of no increase, and now we have made a row of increase, and it's going to keep alternating like that until you get to your hip measurement. You'll be making a row of no increase and a row of increase until you get your hip measurement. So I'm going to keep going with 1/2 double crochet in every stitch until I get to the next stitch marker. I have reached my second stitch marker, and I'm going to take it out and place there 3 half double crochets. That's 1, 2, and 3. Get my stitch marker, place it back in the middle stitch, and then continue with my 1/2 double crochet in every stitch until I get to the end here. And as you can see, it's starting to slant a little bit, you know, in order to get that hip measurement that we need. I'm at the end of my round 23, and I'm going to place my last stitch right there, and then slip stitch on top of that first stitch to complete the round, like so. Chain 1 and turn, and then I'm going to keep repeating those 2 rows. I'll keep alternating between an increased row and a row of not increased. Don't forget to move your stitch marker along the way. So I'm going to keep repeating that until I can stretch this a little bit to get to half of my hip measurement. So now my next round is going to be a round with no increase, since this last row we increased. So the next one, I'm not going to make an increase, and then I will increase on the next round. So I hope that is clear, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. Alright guys, I'm back, and here I have a total of 26 rounds. I have 26 rounds completed, and I'm done increasing at this point, and I have increased for 3 rounds. As you can see, this is 1, 2, and 3, and I'm now done increasing. At this point, my skirt is about 9.5 inches long. And as you can see, for the width, I needed it to be 25 inches wide when stretched. So place my my tape measure right here. Then when not stretched, it's about 19.5 inches. Yeah, 19.5. But when stretched, let's see, I need it to go to 25. So when stretched, it can go to 25. You don't want to stretch it way too much. It still have, you know, it can go all the way to 25, which is exactly what I need. Okay, you can see it right here. And now I'm done making the increases, and from here on we're going to keep working in rounds, making 1 stitch in every stitch. I'm going to keep going until I get to about 17 inches long, and then I'll be back so we can work on the bottom part of the skirt, which is going to be the mesh. So once I have my 17 inches, and this should be slightly above my knees or around my thighs, I don't know, but I'll be back so we can do the rest. Okay, so make sure you try your work on and see where you would like the mesh pattern to start from. I went ahead and made 48 rounds, and this is how it looks. I'm now going to show you guys how long my skirt is at this point. Well, you already know because I told you earlier I'm gonna make 17 inches, and that's exactly what I have here. So we're now going to start making the mesh rows or the mesh rounds, and let's get started with that. Okay, so to start our first round of mesh, we're going to make a chain of 4. We're going to turn our work. The chain 4 is going to count as a double crochet and a chain 1. So skip the next and double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, yarn over, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next by inserting your hook. Pull up a loop, you'll have 3 loops on your hook, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Chain 1, skip the next, and you're going to make a double crochet in the next stitch. And that's what you're going to repeat all the way around. Alright, so keep repeating this mesh round and I'll meet you guys at the end. I'm at the end of my round, and as you can see here, I have no stitch to skip, but that's okay. You're just going to chain 1 and slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain to complete the round. Chain 4, then turn your work, and then you're going to double crochet on top of the next double crochet, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next double crochet, chain 1, skip the chain and double crochet on top of the next double crochet, and you're going to keep going like this, making 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet on top of the next stitch until you get to the end of the round. Alright guys, I made it to the end of my second round for this mesh pattern, and I just have this 1 stitch left. So I'm placing there my double crochet, chain 1, and then slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain. And that's the end of our second round. Round 3 for the mesh, you're going to chain 4, and again you're going to turn your work, and then you're going to double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next double crochet from the previous round, and you're going to repeat this all the way around. I made it to the end of my 3rd round for the mesh. I've already chained 1, and I'm now going to slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain to complete the 3rd round, and then you're going to chain 4, and then you're going to repeat those 2 rounds that we have made for the mesh. I'm going to repeat that same pattern until I have 30 rounds completed just for the mesh, okay? And then I'll be back so we can do the flared part. Unfortunately, I lost a clip where I recorded showing the mesh pattern, like all of it, and taking measurements for it. But that's how many rows I'm gonna make. I'll add 30 rows for the mesh, and then I'll be back so we can do the ruffles at the bottom, okay? I'm done making the 30 rounds for the mesh. So from here we are going to be working on the ruffles that we have at the bottom of the skirt, or that flared part. So let's continue with that. You're going to chain 3, turn your work, and in this first box that we have right here, you're immediately going to place there a total of 5 double crochets. That is 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you should have something like this, and then you're going to yarn over, and on top of this next stitch you're going to make a double crochet. So in total we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochets, then chain 1, and on top of the next stitch you're going to make a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So after making the 7 double crochets, we need a total of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. We need 8 double crochets separated with the chain 1. Okay, so now after making the 7 double crochets here, we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 stitches, and we are now going to do this again. We need to make 7 double crochets just like we did here. So you're going to chain 1, and on top of the next stitch you're going to make a double crochet, and then you're not going to chain. So in this next chain 1 space you're going to make 5 double crochets. That's 1 2 3 4 and 5, all in the same space. Then make a double crochet on top of the next stitch, like so. So we now have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 stitches, and after that you're going to chain 1, and you're going to make this set again of 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, for a total of 8, and that's what we're going to repeat all the way around. Okay, so chain 1 double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1 double crochet on top of the next, and I'm going to keep going until I have a total of 8, just like I explained earlier. Okay, so I now have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So next I'm going to chain 1. I've already chained 1, so I'm going to place my double crochet on top of the next stitch, and then I'm going to make 5 double crochets in the chain 1 space. 1 2 3 4 and 5, and then the last one is going to go on top of the next stitch for a total of 7 now, and we're now going to repeat this. So chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next, and you're going to repeat that until you have a total of 8 double crochets, all separated by a chain 1, and then you're going to repeat making these clusters or shells, if I may call them. So I'll meet you guys back here at the end. Alright guys, I made it to the end, and this is how my work is looking. So when I got to the end, I don't have the 8 double crochets between the 2 here, but that's okay, it really doesn't matter. So if yours matches, that is still perfectly fine. So I have chained 1, and I'm going to slip stitch right on top of this first chain that I started the round with. So I'll slip stitch, then I'm going to chain 4 and turn my work. And starting from this round, we are just going to repeat the same thing we did for this mesh part, making a double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, and this is what you're going to repeat all the way around. So I have made a double crochet right here. So when you get to where we made the 7 double crochets, we are going to do something different. So I have chained 1 here, and I'm going to yarn over and place 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, all in the same space, chain 1, 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, all in the same space. So we're basically making these stitches here where we made the 7 double crochets. Okay, chain 1, make a V stitch, chain 1, go in the next stitch and make a double crochet, chain 1, then double crochet once again in the same space. And you're going to do this every time you get to this part where we have the 7 double crochets. Okay, so we need this ruffle here, and as you can see, it's starting to form here. And after that, you're going to chain 1 and repeat the pattern until you get to the 7 double crochets. Chain 1, double crochet on top of the next, Alright, I'm back to where we have the 7 double crochets, and I'm going to make the V pattern, double crochet, chain. So from here you're just going to keep making the V stitches until you get to the end of the 7 double crochets, and then you start making 1 double crochet, chain 1 double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches. And you repeat that until you get to the end of the round. Alright guys, I'm going to keep repeating this until I get back to the end right here, and then I can show you guys how to do the rest of the rows. I have made it to the end, and as you can see, I have this 1 stitch left here where this chain is coming out of. I've already chained 1, so I'm going to yarn over, and in that same chain I'll place a double crochet, chain 1, and then slip stitch on top of that 3rd chain. Okay, so after this we're simply going to make a chain of 3, 4. We're going to chain 4, turn our work, and we're now going to repeat what we did on this other mesh, and we're going to be making 1 double crochet on top of the stitch and separate it with a chain 1. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and this is all you're going to repeat. When you get to the end, you slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain, you chain 4, and then you turn your work and repeat. Making 1 double crochet, chain 1 double crochet on top of the next double crochet, just like that. So I'm not sure how many rounds I'm going to make for this part, so I'm going to keep going, and I'll be back so I can tell you guys how many rounds I ended up making. Okay, so you're going to keep repeating that round, making 1 double crochet, chain 1 double crochet on top of every stitch. I have made it to the last stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain like so, and then I'm going to chain 1, pull through the yarn or cut off the yarn, and this is how it's looking. I love it. And I have made a total of 12 rows starting from where we made the increase. So I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12, and that was enough for me. In case anyone wants to know how tall I am 5'5", so you can, you know, consider that. All right, the last thing we're going to work on is the waistband. If you don't have an elastic band, you can make a chain, and then you're going to pull it through this first row that we made of double crochet, of half double crochets. So you'll pull through your chain all the way around, and then you'll be tying it either from the front or from the back, whatever you feel comfortable doing. So for those that have their elastic band, you are going to make sure that when stretched, it gets to your waist measurement. So my waist measurement is 39, and I'm now going to get my tape measure. And then I'm going to stretch the elastic band until it gets to 39. There we go. And then you'll need some extra inches, just so, because we're going to tie it around, so you'll need that. All right. So now I'm going to tie a knot and make sure that it is secured. Then we can go on and attach it to the skirt. All right. So this is how it's looking. You can stretch enough to my waist. I'm going to turn my skirt around. So I'm going to get my elastic and then get my yarn, make a slip knot. So you're going to place it behind that first row, and then insert your hook in the first stitch. This here is mine, and then go under the elastic band as well. And then you're going to pull through the yarn. Pull through like so. Then I'm going to secure it with a chain 1. I'm going to yarn over and go back in that same space with a half double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, and also go under your elastic band and make a half double crochet. Insert your hook in the next stitch and make a half double crochet. Yarn over, make a half double crochet going over your waistband or your elastic band, and you're going to keep going like that all the way until you get back to where we just started from. It's that simple. So as you go, remember to pull your elastic, okay? You keep stretching it until it goes with you around the whole waistline, okay? So yeah, keep going until you get to the end. All right, I have made it to the end, and I'm going to slip stitch right on top of that first half double crochet that I made, like so. Then chain 1, cut off the yarn, leaving a long tail that I can weave in. So this is how it looks. Just pull it around to adjust and make sure you're comfortable with how it looks. Okay, and now I still have all this here, so I need to clear that up by using my darning needle, and I'm just going to weave in this excess band. I'll just pull it through. So this is how it's gonna look. And now I'm just going to weave in all the tails that I have hanging around. And there we have it, guys, and that brings us to the end of this tutorial. Let me know how you found it, guys. I hope it was easy for you. I have a new tutorial already coming out, so stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. If you have watched this tutorial to the end, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.